Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and welcome to this week's episode of The Knife Guy. So what are we talking about today? So there was something that I said would never, ever happen. Not in a million years. And I said, don't expect it. It's not going to happen. It turns out that I was wrong. that is currently happening. I'm trying to make it happen. What is this? Why are you drawing this out? What are you talking about? I am co-designing a knife right now. And a lot of you, I'm sure, are saying, yeah, well, I mean, you weren't fooling anybody when you said it the first time. The truth is that when I said that, I really meant, like, I thought I meant what I said. I had no plans to ever do it. There were a lot of roadblocks. There were a lot of things in my way. One of the main things was, just the general price of things was going up and up and up. And I was like, man, like, designing what I really would want to design, it would just, the end result would be a price tag that was so ridiculous, And that kind of thing, pricing just makes a lot of people mad in general. And so I always said no, and a lot of different companies asked. It probably happened 6 or 7 times. Hey, and nobody was pushy. They said, hey, if you ever want to, have something made. I got spooked a little bit because of one incident, right? I thought, the idea of working with anybody is just really hard for me because you don't, you want it to be what you want it to be, right? This is a passion project, by the way. The idea was never, ever like, ooh, I can make money on this. No, I don't really care about that. I'm a huge knife enthusiast, and I nitpick things. I mean, I'm a critic. Right? I'm a design reviewer. Over the 3,000, I don't even know how many, almost 3,500 uploads I've done, and all of the years that I've spent collecting knives, buying, selling, and trading, I, like anybody who spends a lot of time in one hobby, you end up with a bunch of elements that you very much enjoy, and you find yourself going after a lot of the same elements over and over and over again. I deviate from that periodically because sometimes I find things really, really interesting that aren't necessarily exactly what I would want in my ultimate knife, but I always find myself coming back to the same types of things. That's why I said I thought it would never happen, because I would have been too demanding, right? And it just wouldn't have been possible. Getting it done in a way that allows people to actually get their hands on it, and there were too many things that were not going to work, and then being afraid to work with anybody, right? I've always been a solo operation, and this isn't like a combination. I'm not like moving forward combining the Metal Complex channel with this other person I'm working with. No, this is the one person who I think can actually deliver. And I spent a long time developing a friendship with this person, and recognizing, certain traits that were similar to me, right? Personality traits, and just care for knives in general, care for the knife world, right? Putting an importance on value, it's a big deal, right? So it's like, if I'm going to do this, I'm not going to turn around and eat everything I've been preaching for the last 5 years. No, it has to be done right? We got to be able to do this. We got to be able to deliver something that is actually what I envisioned. And at the same time, we have to be not just fair, but more than fair on the price of it. Now, as you guys can imagine, it's still going to be an expensive knife. But the idea is to deliver something at a price point that has not been delivered at that price point, or very, very seldom gets delivered at that price point. That is my goal, and I've been reiterating that, and he has been like, I think we can do this. Let me do some calculations, and so far, we think that we can actually do it, right? So that's really exciting. It's going to be a while, though. I'm making this video because we've gotten to the point where it is now pretty real. I didn't want to say this a few months ago when this all started. I mean, I want to say that the idea got tossed around initially about 6 months ago. We're still a ways off. I'm not just going to fart this out overnight, and he doesn't want to either. We want to take our time with this, and so I want to get my hands on some prototypes, and then I want to make adjustments, and then I want to handle the adjusted version, and then we might be doing that a few times, right? So, what's the goal with the design? What is it that you're making? So I'm going to say this now, and when the day finally comes, I'll reiterate it. My goal is to not make something like totally unique and like no one's ever seen this. No, that's not what I'm doing. My goal here was to combine the elements of some of my favorite designs ever and then tweak them a little bit to make it my own thing, which largely is what occurs when anyone is designing a knife anyway. So I don't know that the final appearance of it will, the idea is not to be like, look at this brand new thing that no one's ever seen before. No, not at all. But there always seem to be little elements missing. There always seem to be like, oh, I wish it was like this, or I wish it was like that, right? And so, while, on one hand, I'm definitely not trying to make something that nobody's ever seen before or design something nobody's ever seen before. I'm also absolutely not trying to make something that is for everybody. This is, I think that oftentimes it gets confused. People are like, why isn't this for me? Why don't it should be something that nope. The idea is to make what I've been kind of talking about and, circling, for the last 15 years, what I've been like creating in my head. And it'll, it won't, the idea is to make it perfect for me. And then hopefully a lot of other people really enjoy it as well. But ideally, we want to be able to do enough of them that a lot of people can get their hands on them. And we are legitimately trying to make it as inexpensive as possible. I made the point to the person I'm working with. I said, I literally do not care about, me personally making like a cut or a profit of this. I'm really not interested in that. That's not really what I want, So if it works out for you, then great. But I really just want to see this come to life. And I really want to know that something that I designed is actually out there being collected or used or put up on a shelf just to look at by people. I think that's really cool. That's the idea. The nice thing is that I am actually designing it in a way that it'll be appreciated by people from all three of these corners, right? I always say that the knife community is built from people who are generally hybridizations of user, collector, enthusiast. Whatever you are, however you view this, it should be something that anybody can enjoy. But again, it's still, because of what we're doing and because of how we're doing it, it's still going to be a fairly pricey knife. But I think we're going to manage to make it the type of, what it ends up being. I'm really trying to like not give anything away, if you can't tell. The type of knife I'm making, I'm thinking that, or designing. I'm obviously not manufacturing this, right? But I don't think that there have been too many things exactly like this that actually come in at the price tag we're aiming for. And we are, every last little detail down to finishes, little individual pieces of hardware, if we can cut back or manage to get something really, really great and get it on there and make it work and still keep the price under a hard, there's a line. And I'm like, I really need it to be under this line. The base version of this must be under this line because that's where I'm not seeing these things come in at, right? And so we are making that work. The other cool thing, and the part of this that really pushed me over the edge, because we talked about this for so long, and he was like, I'm telling you, I can do this. And we can make this work. And so he started showing me, as time went on, he was like, hey, I have machines that can do this now. We have people who can apply this type of finish and this type of finish. And I started to think, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? We can use that steel and we can do that finish and we can do this shape. We can do all of those things. And he said, yeah. And then I said, let me, show me pictures when you've got things that you have done this to, when you've got knives you've done this to. And he did. He said, this is something we did. And so then it really, that's when it really started to become more of a reality. I was like, you got to be kidding me, because we're not seeing this type of stuff under X amount. And so I said, can we do a base version and keep it under a certain price point? And then can we offer these, extra options for people who want to do that? And he said, yeah, absolutely. So I don't know, and this is the part where I have to be really careful. I don't know exactly how many variants of this thing there will be, but there will be a base version that should be, it's the whole idea without any major embellishments, keeping it as low as we can possibly get it while still getting the core of what I'm wanting. And then we will have different tiers, right? And he said, we can go, he said, sky's the limit on tiers. We can do really wild, insane versions of this if you want, or we could just go up to a certain point. So I don't know. We haven't really talked about exactly what we want to do there. And the problem is that the more exotic that you get and the more crazy that you get, the more limited that stuff gets. And while that's really fun for collectors, there's going to be an inevitable backlash of people being like, they're trying to make it to where it's like this super rare, unobtainable version and it's marked all the way. And it's like, I want to balance, and I don't want to present it that way. I want to make cool stuff for people who, want to acquire it, want to have it, but I don't want to go nuts with the whole like ultra rare, like limited, one of six, cool, yeah, that's fun. And I'm a consumer who does like stuff like that, and I have stuff like that in my collection that's fun, but I'm not sure that I would want to be the person behind it, right? Because again, the goal here is to bring this thing to life, and to bring it to life in a way that, brings me happiness, and by extension, hopefully a bunch of other people happiness. The number one thing that bothers people in this knife world is the dramatically increasing prices and the dramatically unchanged elements of these knives, right? We've got stuff that's titanium and 20 CV, and it used to be 200 and now it's 350, and it's just getting ridiculous, right? While I will say that titanium is definitely an element of the knife that I'm trying to bring to the table. It should be very, very apparent the moment, if this actually does come to life the way I want it to, it should be very apparent immediately that the goal was not just like, here are materials and materials equal value. No, we are going to execute. I'm going to drive in the execution of these materials, right? And that, by the way, the blade steel is not 20 CV. That's not what we're doing. We're staying away from M390 and 20 CV. No, we're going to do something else. But the idea here will be execution. The elements of value will go far beyond just the materials used, while the materials will still definitely be interesting. But I want to deliver that enthusiast element. I want to deliver that, like, this was a lot of effort, and obviously the price point was the main goal. Obviously the goal is to create a functional tool. That's definitely the case. I want people to at some point, be able to go out and use this thing, and I want it to perform, and it will be designed to do that, but not in a way that like no one's ever seen before. It will perform just as well as the other great stuff on the market, right? But I really want to deliver something that feels like more than just like, here are the materials and here's the same price you've been seeing over and over again. So I'm hoping that we can get that done. But it's going to take a while because I don't care about getting it out there at a certain point, right? I'm not going to do I don't want to do a campaign. I mean, I'll probably hype it up on my channel because I want people to know about it, but I don't want to do this big like advertising campaign and make it this big. A sales event is not my goal. I just want to bring this thing to life, and I just had the I want to do this with somebody who cares about it as much as I do, and this is definitely the person who cares about it as much as I do. He's extremely patient and kicks ideas around with me, and has no incentive to rush this project. There's literally no incentive for him to do it super duper fast or get it out too quickly, right? It's a kind of my mentality is kind of the same as it is with video games that I'm anticipating. Would I like Elder Scrolls 6 right now? Well, yeah, but not if it's gonna be unfinished, right? If they're like, hey man, we can deliver the game right now, but it's pretty bad because we're not done making it. I'd be like, oh no, just make it. What do you need? We need like 5 more years. Okay, if it's really gonna be that good, 100%. Now, I'm not saying this is gonna take me 5 years, but I would much rather, take my time, or whoever's making it. I would rather them take their time. I want to test it. I want to touch it. I want to feel it. I want to make sure that all those little tiny things that I criticize on other people's stuff, I want to make sure that's right on this. We still have a couple of things that we're trying to do and a couple of changes that we hope to be able to make at some point, because we want to add at least one somewhat unique element to this, but we haven't figured out exactly how to do it or what exactly it is. But we kind of have that as a goal for this project. So it could very well be that, in 6 months we're like, hey, we think we got it, or it could be a year from now and I could be saying it's coming, right? I don't know. So I don't want anybody to be like, hey, he said it was like right around the corner. No, absolutely not. It's not right around the corner. You may not hear me talk about it for a super long time. There's also no way for anybody to find out what it is or what it looks like, because there's literally only 2 people on Earth who know, and it's me and this other person. And neither of us plan on releasing anything or talking about anything until it becomes more of a reality. We just recently crossed the threshold of being like, okay, it can definitely be done, right? So now it's the doing part, but that just requires a lot of extra stuff. I have no interest in like becoming a knife designer and doing this multiple times, but then again, it's kind of like I always said, like, I always make fun of people who say, like, I would never spend X amount on a knife. And I always say, well, you won't until you will. Because, I mean, there's 300,000 people subscribed to my channel who have recently discovered, it turns out I will actually spend more money on a knife than I thought, right? And so it's just funny. It's a natural ladder climb. I always said, this is never going to happen. I'm never going to design a knife. There's too many roadblocks. There's too many things I'm afraid of. I don't think I can get what I want done. And here I am actually doing it with somebody who I didn't think this person could exist. Somebody who could deal with me. But there is someone out there who is okay with dealing with me and all the little tiny demands. So I'm eating those words, right? That's absolutely what is happening. But as of right now, I don't have plans at all. I like doing what I do, which is criticizing other people's work. That's what I really enjoy. But I like discovering excellent designs made by other people. I should put it that way. I shouldn't say I enjoy criticizing, because I would much rather it be good. I don't think I have any interest in actually designing stuff, because again, this isn't like oh my gosh, it's so innovative and it's like the newest that nobody's ever seen. No, that's not. I mean, I couldn't imagine the people who actually push for that line. That would be way too tough. There are way smarter people out there than me when it comes to design, but I still would like to see my own personal ultimate come to life, right? within reason. I mean, if I really wanted to, I'm sure I could design some multi-$1,000 ridiculous. I mean, sure, but that's not really. I want to keep this in the realm of, let's say, in the realm of reasonable for people who have experienced a lot of the knife world. If you've been here for years and years and years and kind of climbed the ladder a bit, this is the core of who I think will appreciate this. People who are brand new to knives and they're just like, oh my gosh, you know, $100 is a ton of money for a pocket knife. Probably not. That's not really who I'm designing for, and that's okay. But I want to make it clear and not. I want to be as clear as I can without giving anything away, but not set people's expectations up. You know, this is going to be a fairly expensive knife, but we're still pushing for that edge. So yeah, this is the news that I wanted to share with you guys. And if you're wondering if there any significance to the knives that are on the table right now, yes, these are some of my favorite designs ever. And the knife that I'm designing very much has elements of all of these knives. Some a little bit more than others, and I think that'll be extremely apparent. That's absolutely what's happening. So, I don't want to copy anything exactly. That's the tough part is I have preferences, but I don't want anything to be copied exactly. And inevitably, you know, when this thing finally does, you know, come to light, I'm sure people will be like, that's a copy of the whatever. And what are you going to do? Yeah, I mean, I just want to be clear about what I'm trying to do. I mean, it's the same thing that I said back in the Excalibur series when I said, you know, the quest for the ultimate pocket knife or whatever. I talked about taking elements from lots of my favorite stuff and making it all one thing. So we're trying to do that. We're seeing what's possible, what's not. I don't think it will be possible to get every single thing on my checklist because we're working in a physical space. We have the physical universe to deal with, and you can't push things through other solid objects and just make them deal with it. So I can't combine everything, but we're doing the best that we can. And I'm doing a lot of the, you know, change this, change that, and then drawing a picture and do it. And then this other person is obviously doing a lot of the heavy lifting, all of the major elements. So I want to make sure when the time comes to give credit where it's due, because I'm doing the easy part. I'm doing I want this and I want that. And here's a crappy picture that I drew on a piece of paper with, a crown, and that's what I mean is that finding somebody who had the patience to deal with somebody like me was something that I didn't think would happen. And I didn't really want to put anybody through that, but this person is doing that. So once this becomes more realer, there'll be an update, but probably not for a while. That is going to be it. That is everything that I wanted to tell you. Yeah. So anyways, thanks for watching. This was fun to talk about today. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you would like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. If you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.